You are listening to the Outlaw Podcast with me, your host, Andrea Hall. I am a certified equine gestalt coach, speaker, 3-time author, and lawyer. I help women lawyers who are miserable in their career, struggling with mental and emotional health issues, wanting to have fun in their lives, and struggling to be selfish. After fulfilling my dream of being a criminal defense attorney and opening my own law practice right out of law school, I thought I had it all. While at the height of my career, my 18-month-old puppy died, and I thought, what am I killing myself for? Sometime later, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and my world turned upside down. It was in that moment I realized something had to change. This podcast is about sharing my journey with you about what is possible in your life outside the legal profession, stopping the adulting and being able to play as a child, inspiring you to dream again. Let the journey begin. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Outlaw. I'm your host, Andrea Hall. I am no longer available for things that cause me to feel like shit. I can remember the days being in the grind of the criminal justice system. Those days of having to deal with district attorneys and stupid clients and clients who happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Cops who couldn't see past the end of their nose and were bound and determined to put a square peg in a round hole because the ends justified the means. My calendar, oh my gosh, where do I start? My calendar being so full that I didn't have time to go to the bathroom, eat a healthy lunch, work out. Friends taking advantage of my big heart and my willingness to give and not receiving the same reciprocation in that friendship. Does any of this sound familiar? That feeling of giving and giving. And in the end, who's the one that feels like shit? Not the people you're around, not the legal system, not opposing counsel, not cops, and not your clients for sure. Because at the end of the day, most of my clients could give two shits about me or my family life. And I was lucky if at the end of the day they paid their bill. And if I didn't get them what they wanted, I was the worst lawyer on the face of the earth. And, you know, when I would go home, they'd probably think that that it didn't matter, and I still thought about the situation that I was leaving behind at work, or what I thought was leaving behind at work. Yet I found myself sometimes stewing for days, weeks, maybe even months about the situation. In fact, I remember the first time my client was sentenced to life in prison. And I was standing at the podium with my client, and I could hear his mother collapse in the courtroom behind me. And I remember looking at my client thinking, holy shit, this young man's life is over, and he's just been sentenced to the Department of Corrections for the remainder of his life. And
I left the courtroom that day knowing in my head that I had done everything I possibly could for this client. Yet, even though my head knew that, my heart and the rest of me felt like shit. And I didn't want to talk to anybody. In fact, I shut my office door and I wasn't bothered for a little while. And the next day, somebody came to my office and wanted to speak to me, and I said, you know what? I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have this conversation. And it took me a little while to even allow myself to talk about it, because I was absolutely devastated about the situation that had just transpired and how my client had been sentenced to life. Now, don't get me wrong, my client wasn't perfect. There was plenty of things that he did wrong leading up to that point in time. However, it was my first experience of having somebody sentenced to the remainder of their last breath to the Department of Corrections. And I did feel like shit. And I wanted so badly to change the outcome of that situation, yet there wasn't anything I could do in that moment in time. And there are other situations that have happened in my lifetime where I have felt like shit. And so I have now learned how to really set boundaries and what does my body need, and allow myself to feel into that and listen. Most importantly, listen. For so many years, I've been running at 100 miles an hour, and there's been so much noise, and it was so loud around me that I couldn't even hear my own breath, that I wasn't even able to feel my own heartbeat. I was running on adrenaline in this fight or flight mode. And if I had only taken a moment to just listen. And when I finally did take a moment to listen, it brought me to my passion and my desire to help human beings, specifically women, lawyers, get out of that rat race. And the horses allowed me to realize what I was doing to me and my body for so many years, and how I had caused so many parts of my body to collapse as a result of being part of this rat race. And my horses in the herd can quickly show me when I'm out of my body, when I have an agenda, and when I'm not in the present moment. And those are all the things that they do at any given moment, because they're here in the present moment, breathing and enjoying life. And sometimes their attention to those things I just mentioned is a love tap. And sometimes that love tap is a big whop upside the head. And it definitely brings me back to my awareness and back into my body very quickly. And they're able to pick up on that because of their sense of awareness. They're being in the present moment. They're not having an agenda, and they have no attachment to any sort of outcome. And if you're feeling like you're needing some sort of boundaries so that you don't find yourself feeling like shit, or maybe you're ready to be back in your body and strengthen that muscle, or just maybe you're ready to be selfish. I've talked about that on some prior episodes. The need and the wanting of being selfish and taking some time for yourself and not being able to give if your cup is empty. And we as women so many times give, and there's really nothing to give because our cup is empty. Yet we continue to give until something major happens. The horses and I are here to help you explore and discover the answers within of what would bring you back to being in your body and self-aware and in the present moment. We have had a huge temperature swing here in Colorado. We went from being 72 degrees on Sunday down to 21 degrees today, hence the cap and my nice Calgary Stampede sweater. And even though this was a temperature swing, this is something I can relate to with regard to emotions and having this drastic swing, right? And if some of you gather and say that, this is something that relates to you and that you want to figure something out and have a different result in your life, call me. Let's schedule a free moment of truth session to see how the horses and I can help you move through some of what you have going on. Figure out what those boundaries are and how to strengthen that muscle for you to be back in your body or just be selfish again. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Outlaw.
Thanks for tuning into another episode of Outlaw. There is life after litigation. If anything I said in this episode resonates with you, call for a free exploratory session to see how I can help you. My horses will give you instantaneous feedback, unlike traditional talk therapy. You will shift your awareness into real time with the help of a horse. The horses are like lie detectors, flushing out limiting beliefs with a swish of their tail, a shift of their 1,200-pound body, or a simple unwillingness to move. Horses have a way of seeing into the window of our souls. Horses have been connected to humanity since the dawn of time. Their hearts can heal and mend our broken hearts. Simply standing in their presence can change our lives forever, putting the puzzle pieces back together and returning us to wholeness. Horses are restoring the parts of us that have been missing. You can call us at 970-682-4405 to set up your appointment today. Want to be inspired daily? See about our latest events or purchase a copy of my books? Go to our website at www.witherswhisper.com. That's www.whisper.com. Or you can follow us on any social media venue at Withers Whisper. Until the next episode, listen to the whispers.